Our learning target for today is I can use the area model and division to show the equivalence of two fractions. Up until this point, we've been using multiplication. Today we're going to use our knowledge of division to find equivalent fractions. So I'm going to start. I'm looking at this area model and I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another 6 shaded in. So I know that my unit fraction is 1/12. I can also see that out of those 12 shaded in, or 12 total, I have 6 shaded in. So I have 12 total for my denominator. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded in. That means the fraction that matches this area model is 6/12. So I'm going to look for a fraction that is equivalent or the same as 6/12. Well, I can see I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I was doing before. Instead of decomposing my fraction, I'm going to compose it using what's already here. So I'm not going to break it apart anymore. I can see that 6/12, well, I have 6 is 1/2 of 12, so I can split it right in half. I'm going to circle one group, and I'm going to circle a second group. I can make two equal groups of 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this group. So now I have two total groups. I can see that by what I've circled. One of those groups is completely shaded in. That's going to be my numerator, and my denominator is going to be 2 because I have two total groups. I could use my knowledge of division because I know that 6 divided by 2, a factor of 6, is 2, and a factor of 12 is also 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. You could say that. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 3/6. That's another equivalent fraction of 1/2. So these are all equivalent fractions of 1/2. Now I could have said as well that 6 divided by 1, or 6 divided by 6 is 1, sorry, and 12 divided by 6 is 2 to make 1/2. We're going to look at a couple more examples and then we're going to try them on our own. So the first example we're going to look at is this top area model, this top tape diagram. I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total shaded in. So my unit fraction is going to be 1/8. Now out of those 1/8, I see 2 are shaded in. So my fraction is 2/8. That is what is represented in this tape diagram. I'm going to look at my numerator, I'm going to look at my parts, and I'm going to group them by the amount of my parts. So I'm going to group every 2. I'm going to skip count by 2. So I'm going to circle 2, that's one group. Circle 2, that's a second group. A third group, and a fourth group. So I have 4 total groups. I've composed a new fraction by circling the tape diagram and finding a common factor that goes into both 2 and 8. I can say that I now have 4 total groups, and out of those 4 groups, 1 is shaded in, meaning 2/8 is equivalent or the same as 1/4. Let's use some division skills to figure out if that's true. Well, I'm going to put 2/8 here. Write that. I'm going to try to find out what's a factor, what's a number that I can skip count into both my numerator and my denominator. Well, I know 2 goes into 2 and 2 goes into 8. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to divide 2 to both 2 and 8 because just like multiplication, we have to divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, just like we were doing with multiplication. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. We haven't changed what we've shaded in. We haven't changed the total amount of the tape diagram. The parts are just different. We've composed it into bigger parts. We're going to try one more together. Actually, I'm going to have you guys try with this example right in front of you. I'm going to have you copy down the fraction that is represented in this tape diagram. I'm going to have you copy this on the back of your Do Now page. And I would like you to find the equivalent fraction of this tape diagram. Find it, see if you can turn it into 1/4. You're going to see if you can turn this fraction that is represented in the tape diagram into 1/4 using division. I'm going to put the answer, actually I'm going to have you check in with each other. If you feel stuck, you can come over to the lesson. I have one more for you to try on your own before you go to the worksheet. It will be on the next slide.